the number one thing is that for something to work everywhere, it has to work somewhere first. And so getting it to a place where the thing works, maybe there's data and evidence behind it working in one place or even for one person, that nucleus can be expanded upon. But without that nucleus, you don't have something you can really grow and that will really, I think, get to scale. So that's number one. I think number two is being deeply thoughtful about the money. Does the money come to you because you're selling this product or service to the person you want to serve? Does it come from another payer, like the government, like a philanthropist? You've really got to be thoughtful about that money and then figure out repeatably how do you get it. And that's really your business model. And then I think the last thing is you've got to ensure that your business is not you, that your business is a system, a structure, a machine that can produce your results without depending on you, the entrepreneur. So you have to decouple in a way the process, the knowledge, the expertise that you possess from you and equip your business to replicate that expertise. And that, I think, is a very difficult thing for a lot of founders. But so those are some of the things that we've learned from our ventures in going to scale. The people who had the greatest impact were often people who gave power away. They distributed power. They wanted other people to be powerful, to be capable, to be resourced. And so that is actually the foundation of our model at Unreasonable Institute. We realize we know so little when it comes to some of the problems that we want to take on. We realize we know so little about the locations in which a lot of these problems exist. But if we were going to go and do something about those issues, we would be very ill-equipped to actually have an impact. But if instead we can empower someone who knew about that problem, who knew about that location, they would have so much more of an impact than we would. And so we find those people and we try to give them the resources, the systems, the methodology that we have at least found effective so that they can reproduce our program and then contextualize it in their own context. And that model has been central to our ability to scale. There are some industries that seem like they're blossoming and ballooning and are kind of hitting critical junctures. Education is one where you're seeing an explosion of ideas. Clayton Christensen, the author of The Innovator's Dilemma, called education the most disruptable industry in the world right now. And it's because the way that we're educating people is so different than perhaps the way that we now can educate people given what we have access to. A great example is the word lecture comes from French, lecture, which means to read. And the reason that we had lecturers back in the day when universities first existed is that not everyone knew how to read. So someone would come to the front of the room and would read a book out loud to people, and that's how they would learn. But obviously in a day when most people are illiterate and most people have the internet, that kind of system doesn't seem relevant as much anymore. And so there's huge opportunity there. I think there's a massive opportunity in energy. So many people need energy, and we now have technologies to source that energy from the sun, from water, from the wind, and convert it into electricity. So that means that you don't need a central coal plant necessarily. You could have a distributed sourcing of power, and that means that there's a lot of opportunity for innovation there as well. And there's a whole host of other things, but you know, those are a few examples. Investors are people too, and if they're going to bet, for example, their daughter's college education on your business, they want to know that they can trust you. They want to know that you're a person of character and integrity because they are trusting you with their money and their future. And that means that you've got to be someone who will share bad news with them. You've got to be someone who is willing to share every part of your business, the soft underbelly, the vulnerable side, the weaknesses with your business. So building that trust with an investor is the #1 thing that matters in building a relationship. And that is something that happens over time. I think a lot of entrepreneurs wonder, why can't I get money faster? It's because the pace that you're really on is the pace of trust. It's not the pace of making a decision about how great the business is, That's obviously very, very important, but this person needs to trust you. And your trust is affected by whether or not you do what you say you're going to do, how honest you are about the shortcomings of your business, your performance, your growth, your delivery, your ability to pull in other people to solve this problem, and your credibility in tackling the problem that you're tackling. Do you actually know this problem in and out? So that trust is really important in building relationships with investors.